Episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Today, we are bringing back another episode for you guys where we are going to be debunking some anti-ag claims again. I've got two for you guys today that are very relevant and kind of, again, building off of some topics that we've maybe already discussed a little bit, going into another branch of detail, whatever that may be. But I am ready to just go ahead and dive right into these with you guys. We're not wasting any time today. First and foremost, claim number one, the water footprint of beef is too high. This is something that we hear a lot when it comes to sustainability for beef. And it is so important that when we are discussing all of these, that we understand why we're discussing this today, right? Because the fact of the matter is, if we have an informed producer population, we then can start to have an informed consumer population. If us as producers, if we are not sitting here being able to say these facts and be informed ourselves, how can we anticipate and expect our consumers to be informed if we don't even know the facts ourselves? So, claim number one, going back to that, the water footprint is too high of beef. So where does this claim come from? There is a viral infographic that claims that it takes 1,800 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. Actually, even if you Google how many gallons of water does it take to produce 1 pound of beef, this is the first thing that pops up. You will see that infographic immediately, and the AI, just little blip that it gives you at the beginning now with Google AI will say that it takes 1,800 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. And then it gives that infographic and it cites its sources. But then if you scroll down like 3 scrolls, you'll get to the research papers. Things from the Kansas State University Beef Cattle Institute. You'll see things from Texas A&M. You'll see things from a lot of really great research institutions that break this down and show that it does not take 1,800 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. But here's the thing with that 1,800 gallons of water and where that comes from. That number bundles all water together. It is bundling rain, pond, pipe, everything. So here are the facts. Let's start breaking it down. First and foremost, we've got to understand the 3 different types of water use. We have green water, which is rainfall absorbed by pasture plants. We have blue water, which is irrigation, thinking drinking water, surface, and groundwater. Then we have gray water, which is water needed to dilute pollution. So here's the reality of it. 94 to 97% of the water used in beef production is green water. Rainfall that would fall on the land whether the cattle were there or not. Actual consumption or blue water used per pound of US beef is actually only about 280 to 400 gallons. And far lower than what was originally quoted, and there are even studies out there that show that we can be as low as 158 gallons for blue and green water footprint. At the end of the day, the water falling on a Kansas prairie isn't stolen by cattle. They're part of the cycle that keeps it alive and keeps us able to have a flourishing ecosystem and an ecosystem that continues to provide water for our land. Here's another bonus. Cattle managed under certain grazing practices can actually improve water infiltration, build soil organic matter, and reduce runoff, increasing how much rain actually gets absorbed into the soil. So when cattle are managed right, they don't just drink water, they actually protect it. Okay, let's move on to claim number 2. Beef is unsustainable in a warming world. Here's what the critics are saying. Cattle emit methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Agriculture should move away from ruminants to cut climate impact, and the future should be plant-based for the planet. Here is the real facts, guys. So when discussing methane versus carbon, cattle emit biogenic methane, which is a methane that is part of the natural carbon cycle. Methane from cattle, it breaks down in about 10 years. Unlike fossil fuels that stick around for centuries. A cow's methane today isn't adding to the heat. It's part of a balanced circular ecosystem. So with that, remember, cattle emit biogenic methane that is part of that natural carbon cycle. And let's talk about how great we've been doing over the past 50 years. So since the 1970s, the US beef industry has reduced emissions per pound by 30%, used 81% less water, used 19% less feed, and produces more beef with fewer animals. We are continuing to being a more sustainable, better overall producer population for the beef industry as every year goes by, and it's only going up from here. At the end of the day, cattle support carbon sequestration through managed grazing practices. They help maintain grasslands, which are one of the best carbon sinks on the planet, and actually even better than forests in dry climates. So if we remove cattle, we lose the very ecosystem that buffers us from those climate extremes that everyone is so scared of. Cattle aren't a climate threat. They are a climate tool, and a tool that needs to be continued to be used, and a tool that needs to be advocated for. Removing beef doesn't save the planet. It actually just starves the system that sustains it. The US beef industry is responsible for only 3.7% of US greenhouse gas emissions. Is this something that we can continue to improve on? Absolutely. But if you compare that to other industries, we are a drop in the water in comparison to the greenhouse gas emissions. Are there areas that we can continue to improve? Yes. And we are doing so each and every day. Let's look at where we were 50 years ago versus today. We are going to continue as we build a more sustainable herd population and just build better beef. We are then building a more sustainable industry and better at our climate control. Because if we have animals that are more efficient with the land and beef production and water and everything else in between, then we are then helping the climate and helping the ecosystem that are around us. Cattle producers and farmers, in my opinion, and it's actually pretty much a fact, were some of the first environmentalists of this world. We care about the environment. And so it is up to us to use real stats, post them, speak them, and stand behind them. Get that notes app out and add these facts to your notes app. That way you are continuously seeing facts about beef cattle production, what that means for us as producers, and you are prepared for these conversations when these conversations come up. You need to be talking about your grazing practices. You need to be talking about water management. You need to be talking about conservation. Don't be afraid to correct the narrative when the narrative is wrong, because most people have never heard your side of the narrative. It is so important that we speak up. It is so important that we continue to defend the cattle industry and that we get the facts right. Not only that we understand where consumers are coming from and where the anti-beef narrative is first derived from, what people are seeing, but then the facts that go against it, and then how we as producers can continue to share that. At the end of the day, if you raise cattle, you raise carbon smart protein, and that deserves a whole lot more respect. Today, we talked about water and we talked about emissions, two very hot topics in ag and areas that thankfully we are continuing to get better in every single year. Take this as an opportunity to stand up for ag and continue to be an informed producer population. That way we can continue to have an informed consumer population and be better each and every year. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, share with a friend, subscribe to the show, whatever that may be for you. We really appreciate any and all of the love around here. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you all tomorrow on another episode. Have a good one, y'all.